Here are 12 things that are a complete waste of money. Number 1 is buying stuff to impress people. It's a trap that I've fallen into myself in the past. In a day and age where Instagram and social media rule our lives, we fall into the pressure of needing to impress others. When I first started to make money, I felt the urge to go out and buy expensive clothes. Everyone around me, people that I was hanging around with, seemed to wear them. But to be honest, I couldn't really care what I wore at the time. I had no interest in fashion or designer clothes, but I still bought £100 t-shirts because I felt the need to show that I was doing well. Even though it didn't bring me any internal joy, I didn't care about the quality of the clothes or the style of the clothes. I was simply seeking external validation. Nowadays, I couldn't care less of what people think of me. I ensure that the stuff that I buy and spend money on is something that is actually bringing me happiness and not just to seek external validation from others. One of my biggest lessons was when I used to drive an Audi R8. My business was doing great and then COVID hit. Things took a little bit of a downturn and I ended up having to sell that car. And I went from driving an Audi R8 to a 2009 Honda Civic with over 100,000 miles on it. At the time, all I could think was, what are people going to think of me? But honestly, nobody ever said anything. Nobody cared. Nobody probably even noticed because people aren't focusing on you. They're so focused in their own lives, they don't care what you're doing. So stop going out there and buying things to validate other people's expectations of you. Buy stuff that brings you internal happiness. There's a quote that really defines this well. We end up spending money we don't have to buy things we don't need to impress people we don't like. If you can avoid this trap early on, you'll save yourself a lot of money. Next up, we have the lottery. The odds of winning the Euro Millions lottery in the UK is 139,838,160 to 1. Some people say that you have to be in it to win it, which may be true, but the smartest people simply just don't play it at all. I once heard someone say that the lottery is an added tax on the poor. People are so desperate for a windfall lifeline that they throw away any chance of financial freedom by spending it on lottery tickets and gambling. If you simply invested that money instead of gambling it, you would eventually get the result you were looking for in the first place. Let's say on average you lose £25 per week on the lottery or gambling. If you instead invested that £25 per week from age 20 to 60 in a low-cost index fund, you could have approximately £294,178 in investment. Obviously, this depends on the growth rate of the stock market, but 99.9% of the time, you're going to end up in a better position than gambling. Next up, we have Uncancelled Subscription. I guarantee you, if you go to your bank statement right now, there's a subscription on there that can be cancelled. In the UK, the average person spends £500 on subscription per year. Up to half of these subscriptions are unused. Now, that's the average of the UK population. But most people in our age range of say 18 to 40 are likely spending much more, as we are more likely to sign up to subscription-based services than, the generations that came before us. Simply take 5 or 10 minutes every couple of months to kill any subscriptions you're not using. Signed up to Now TV 6 months ago to watch a single program and haven't used it since? Cancel it. Bonus tip is, depending on the company, you may also be able to get your money back for unused months. Not everyone will do this, but it's worth asking for, as some companies might. Touching on this one again, we have designer accessories. Buying designer products, especially luxury handbags, is one of the biggest ways to waste money. While they might look stylish and come with a prestigious name on them, the reality is often far less glamorous. Many luxury brands have been found to massively inflate their prices. For example, a Dior handbag that retails for around $2,500 has been reported to cost as little as $44 to produce. What you're paying for isn't superior craftsmanship or quality, but rather the branding, marketing, and the illusion of exclusivity. People are again buying it to signal to other people that they're successful. In many cases, these items are made using standard or even low quality materials with finishes designed to disguise imperfections. And this means you're not actually getting a product worth the steep price tag, but one that's being carefully marketed to you to make you believe that it's a status symbol. If you think about it, spending thousands on something that costs a fraction to make is money that could be better invested elsewhere. In reality, you're just buying into the hype, not value. Save your money for things that truly improve your life, rather than products designed to make you look like you're living a luxury lifestyle. The next one might cause a little bit of a fuss in the UK, but it's alcohol. Alcohol is probably one of the biggest things that I've wasted a ton of money on. Drinking culture is prevalent in the UK and we tend to end up out every weekend. But if you don't drink at all, you're going to save a huge amount of money. And even if you go out just slightly less often and swap the bar for a party in your house, you can save a significant amount of cash. I know for me, it's not just the price of the drinks, it's the taxi home, the inevitable 2 AM Domino's that I order every time I go out, and then all the crap I eat and order the next day. This all adds up and costs a significant chunk of money. Now, I'm not saying not to do that at all. I'm not advocating for living a life like a hermit just so you can save a few pounds. But if you can ensure that you're investing first, so you're putting money aside at the start of the month and you don't touch that, and then you go out and party and have fun with the rest of your money, it's completely fine because you know that at the start of the month you set some money aside and you can have fun with the rest of it. But if you're going out partying every weekend, spending everything that you have, and then you're in your overdraft every month, well, you should probably think about changing that up. Now we have credit card interest. For most people, credit cards are a debt spiral. You should never be paying interest or late fees on credit card. If you do want to use one, what you do is you pay off the balance in full each month. If you couldn't afford to buy something without putting it on a credit card, you shouldn't be purchasing it. You're literally stealing from your future self. For example, if you make £2,500 per month, you put a £3,000 holiday on your credit card, and now I have to start paying that off monthly. You're going to pay about £500 in interest on that £3,000, so the holiday is now more expensive than it should have been. You literally decrease your income for the next year as you now have to pay off that balance monthly. Your £2,500 now becomes £2,300, leaving less disposable income for the foreseeable future. The credit card is literally stealing £200 from you every single month. If you simply saved for that holiday beforehand by putting away £200 per month, you wouldn't pay the interest to the credit card company and you wouldn't have to be worrying about paying for a holiday you've already been on. So if you're going to use a credit card, there are good benefits. You can get points, you can get cash back, but if you're not going to treat them right, you shouldn't use it at all. If you simply can't buy stuff on it and then pay it off in full at the end of the month, just get rid of them. Cut them up, put them in the bin, and be done with it. Next up is tax write-offs. This is one of the biggest financial misconceptions that I see out there. It won't apply to everyone, especially if you're employed, so I'll keep this one quick. But I hear people say all the time, it was a tax write-off, as if that's an excuse to buy something, as if it makes it free. A dumb purchase that is a tax write-off is still a dumb purchase. You don't save 100% of a tax write-off. If you buy a new laptop that you didn't really need for £1,000, you might save £200 in taxes that you would have had to pay on that initial £1,000, but you're still negative £800. If you just didn't buy the laptop, you would have £800 in cash. Just because you can write it off doesn't make it a good decision. You should still only purchase things that you actually need to purchase. Don't use the tax write-off excuse to make purchases you otherwise didn't need. One that I've fallen into the trap a ton of times is upgrading your phone. So many people upgrade their phone every 2 to 3 years when their contracts are up. I used to be the same, however, these days phones are just so similar to the phones from 2 years ago. For example, I've had an iPhone 13 Pro for 2.5 years now. I've put a case on it, a screen protector on it, and this thing is like brand new. I can't even tell the difference between it and people who have an iPhone 16 now. You can save a significant amount of money by waiting until the phone's actually in need of being replaced before getting that new one. And if you wait for an extra year to make the switch, you could save £200 to £400 just by waiting. Electing to purchase last year's model when you actually do go for an upgrade could also save you a significant amount of money. The next one's pretty damn cute, but still an absolute waste of money, and it's touching again on the sort of designer things. Designer baby clothes. This is something that is just insane. Literally, your baby wears clothes for a month sometimes, and then they're done. And you're buying them 50, 60, £100 Gucci clothes. That is absolutely insane and just an absolute waste of money. And in the UK, you see people doing this all the time. Like, if you're ultra rich and you want to do that, fine. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck and your baby's rocking around in a Gucci, what are you doing? That is just financial suicide. You can buy your baby some nice looking clothes that aren't designer labels and have them look nice. That's completely fine. Again, when you're going out there and buying designer clothes for your baby, you're just seeking external validation from other people. It's not something that actually matters. You can dress your baby nice with clothes from other places that don't cost hundreds of pounds. This one's an easy one, and that is keeping money in a savings account that doesn't get interest. If you're keeping your money in an account that doesn't get you interest, you're massively losing out. Currently in the UK, you can get around 5% on your savings, depending on which savings account you actually use. So make sure to shop around for the best rates currently. If you have £10,000 in an emergency fund, you would be generating an extra £500 per year at a 5% interest rate. For the sake of taking 15 minutes to set this up, it's well worth it. The next one is exchanging money before you go on holidays. When I was growing up, I used to always be told that you should exchange your money at home before going on holidays. To simply save some money, the rates were usually better. For example, you go to the post office or the local supermarket, and I still see people doing this, but times have changed. There's better ways. Usually an app like Revolut or Monzo is the best place to exchange your money. You only need to exchange what you need, or you can use it in the country that you're traveling to. It also means that you don't exchange any more money than you need to, avoiding those transaction fees and exchanging your money on your return from holiday. Last but not least is spend intentionally. One of the biggest ways people waste money is by spending without intention. Every day we're surrounded by ads, social media influencers, and sales that pressure us to buy things that we don't actually need. This impulse buying can quickly drain your bank account, leaving you with stuff that brings no real value to your life. When you spend without thinking, you're often chasing short-term satisfaction rather than making choices that align with your long-term goals. It's easy to fall into the trap of convenience, buying things out of habit, boredom, or because they're on sale, but ask yourself, do these purchases add real value to your life? A week from now, will you be using this thing? Intentional spending, on the other hand, means being conscious of where your money goes. It's about aligning your spending with what genuinely matters to you, whether that's saving for the future, investing in experiences, or buying high-quality essentials. It's not about depriving yourself, but about making sure that each pound that you spend serves a purpose. So when you're intentional, you avoid financial regrets, and you make better choices that support your happiness and financial security. That's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.